Yeah, but the instructions for the exercise said that whenever possible, you have to use, if you can use that, you have to say so. Do you think in this case
Yeah,
it's that?
we can change which into that.
So the exercise was incomplete. So we can say that or which. Okay. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 So now let's see exercise 22. So we have the examples. The teacher thanked the student who had given her some flowers. The implication is that the flowers were from all the students. And the teacher thanked the students who had given her some flowers. The implication is that the flowers were from only some of the students. So, but I need to hear the right intonation when you use commas. So number 3, Axel.
Okay.
Read the sentence and then tell us the implications.
Okay. There was a terrible flood. The villagers who had received a warning of the impending flood escaped to safety. It's A. Only some of the villagers had been warned, only some escaped.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 Okay. Sire, number 4.
There was a terrible flood. The villagers who had received a warning of the impending flood escaped to safety. So it's number B. Sorry, letter B.
Can you read it?
All of the villagers had been warned. All escaped.
Okay. Remember not to pronounce these. Pronounce warned.
Warned. Okay.
And how do you pronounce this?
Villagers.
Villagers. Porque eso, ¿cómo le pondríamos en español? Como si estuviera escrito así, villagers. Y no.
Villagers.
No. Es como, ¿cómo pronuncias esto?
John.
John. Bueno, con esa misma vas a leer villagers.
John. Villagers.
Villagers.
Okay.
Okay. And then, how do you pronounce this?
Received.
Received. Because I heard received.
No, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
So even though the letters appear in the different order with respect to this one, the pronunciation is exactly the same. It's because the C, after the C, the order of the letters changes. But
Okay.
the pronunciation is like believe. Well, so your choice was?
Letter B. B.
Can you read?
All of the villages.
What happened to all of the villagers?
Sorry, all of the villagers had been warned. All escaped.
All escaped. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Then, Lucero, 5, please.
Roberto reached down and picked up the grammar book, which was lying upside down on the floor. Letter A, there was only one grammar book near Roberto.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 Okay, Lucero, how do you pronounce this?
Pick it up,
I couldn't quite hear. One more time, please.
pick it up.
No hagas tantísimo esfuerzo. O sea, pronuncia como si estuvieras escrito así.
Okay. Picked up,
Can you do it?
picked up.
Picked up, picked up, picked luego ya los pones juntos. Picked up. Porque
Picked
oigo
up.
que aunque sufren mucho, se paran, meten el clutch, freno, cambio de velocidades, pasan muchas cositas raras. Okay, number 6. Jessica.
Roberto reached down and picked up the grammar book, which was lying upside down on the floor. Letter B, there was more than one grammar book near Roberto.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 Okay. So before we check exercise 23, I am going to give you some time for you to discuss this with a partner. These are pairs. So these two are similar, these two are similar, these two are similar, and these two are similar. But the punctuation changes, and you have to discuss what the meaning or the implication is. So you have 4 pairs. To give you 5 minutes. So somebody was ejected. Who was kicked out from the session? There was somebody who was in the team and then was kicked out, and then I had to admit again. Who was it?
Oh, it was me, teacher.
Larissa. Do you remember who your partner was?
Yeah, it was Lucero.
Okay, so and I need to create another session because there were people who were in trios. Oh, I have the impression that somebody else also was kicked out. No. So I'm going to leave it like in a moment. I will give you your team because now that the sessions are created, you won't appear, Larissa. So in a moment, I will give you back your team. So 5 minutes.
Hi again.
Yeah, don't worry. I am sharing my screen. So
Yes.
you can see. Okay. So in the number 7 and the number 8. Um.
He reached in the basket and threw away the apples that were rotten. Here, I think it's in the case, like in number number 6, that that there were that there were more than one apple. No, sorry, only some. No,
Don't worry. I am in the same case, trying to understand it, in which cases that we are talking about that the only one son and the all. Pero lo que pues no sé, como que me confundí un poquito.
a ver, creo que ya entendí. En la 7, según yo, se refiere a todas las manzanas que estaban podridas. Y en la 8 se refiere que tiró solamente algunas que estaban podridas, no todas. Así es como lo entiendo yo. Es que igual yo pensé que era así como decías, de que cuando tenía coma era así, pero no, creo que más bien tienes que fijarte en todo el contexto. Entonces, no, ahorita así como que analizándolo, así lo entiendo yo, que en la 8 solamente fueron algunas y en la 7 sí eran todas las que estaban podridas.
Ajá, exacto.
Ujú. Ok, entonces es la diferencia.
Ujú.
Y en la 9 y 10, a ver qué dice. The students who had done well on the test were excused from class early. The students who had done well on the test were excused from class early.
The students who
Igual, ¿no? Creo que en la 9 se refiere a todos, o sea, que todos los estudiantes lo hicieron muy bien en el examen y los dejaron ir temprano. Y en la 10 está, ajá, los estudiantes, coma, que les fue bien, se los dejó irse temprano, pero solo a algunos, no a todos. Y en la 9 da a entender que sí fueron todos los estudiantes.
como que va de acuerdo al contexto.
Ajá, sí, porque yo también pensaba que era como esa regla que, bueno, lo que me dijiste, y yo también lo había entendido así, pero no. Creo que no. Aunque sí es más confuso así, pero bueno.
Sí. Cindy was delighted when she opened the present. ¿Sabes cuál es el significado de delighted?
Como asombrada, contenta, bueno, algo así. Ajá, como súper asombrada, según yo.
Aquí yo, por ejemplo, estoy entendiendo que está como especificándose que fue de su abuela.
Ajá, sí, es como Cindy estaba asombrada.
Cualquiera de sus dos abuelas.
Cindy was delighted when she opened the doors from her grandmother. Cindy was delighted when she opened the present, which was from her grandmother. Ajá. Cindy when she opened the present that was from her. Sí, exacto. Bueno, igual lo entiendo así. Aunque sí, esta está un poco más confusa. A ver, la última. The teacher pointed to the maps that were hanging on the rear wall of the classroom. Mm, Aquí al revés. Aquí creo que en la 13 se refiere solo a algunos y en la 14 se refiere a todos por el contexto. O sea, no sé, como que en la 13 dice la teacher apuntó a los mapas, los cuales estaban en la pared, ¿no? Del salón. Y en la 14 como que hace esta distinción de
Ajá, como que de algunos.
Everybody's happy. So let's check. Oops. All right. Number 7. Sandra.
He reached in the basket and threw away the apples that were rotten.
Are you asking?
He reached in the basket and threw away the apples that were rotten. The meaning of this sentence is some of the apples were rotten.
All the apples were rotten. Use that. That's what you said?
Some
Some.
none of the apple
Some apples were rotten. And in number 8, can you read and analyze? Just one thing. How do you pronounce this?
Hurrage,
No. Vamos a pronunciarlo así.
reaching,
Pero ¿y esta T? ¿Dónde está?
reading,
No, vas a leer como dice aquí, reached in.
reaching,
Sí. Entonces ahora lo vas a ver acá y lo vas a leer reached in.
he reached in the basket
No,
and
ya no me repite así in the basket, o sea, no me lo leas 2 veces. O sea, este in es este que está aquí. ¿Ok? A ver, otra vez.
he reached in the basket and threw away the apple, which were rotten.
Ajá.
At the meaning, if all the apples were rotten.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Number 9. Manuel.
Yes. The students who had done well on the test were excused from class early. And it means that all students.
All the students were excused, you mean, or what?
Yeah, all students.
Students. This
Students.
is an irregular word. The same way that you accept that these 2 words are, well, one is the plural of the other, but the pronunciation is very different. Well, you have to accept that these words are related, but the pronunciation is different. This is study, and this is student. So, in number 9, you implied that what?
All the students were excused from class early.
Were excused. Early. Like this. Early.
Early. Okay.
And number 10?
The students who had done well on the test were excused from class early. It means that some of the students.
What? Finish your idea.
Some students were excused.
Were excused. Does everybody agree?
No.
No.
Okay. Do you remember what we said yesterday? What is the name of the relative clauses that have no commas?
No. Defining.
Defining.
So these are defining relative clauses. So I am giving a definition of the students who have a certain characteristic. And when we have commas, this is, what is the name of that?
Non-defining.
Non-defining. And this implies that we are just giving extra information. This information is not necessary to define or recognize anything or anybody. So, in reality, number 9 has what implication?
Some students.
That only some students were excused. Which students?
Which
Had
were
done well on the test.
Only those that had this characteristic of having done well on the test. And in the other, remember what is the other way to analyze this? What is an alternative punctuation instead of commas? What did we say?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. And when we have some information in parentheses, let's say that is sometimes interesting, but it's not essential, and we can ignore it momentarily. So I can read the students were excused from the class early. So what is the implication?
All were excused.
All the students were excused. And in parentheses, I give extra information about the students. Oh, by the way, they did well on the test. Is it clear or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so. Number 11. Gabriel.
Yes. Cindy was delighted when she opened the present, which was from her grandmother. I'm not quite sure in this one, but I think that the number 11 refers to some presents.
What do you mean? Some presents? Well, I don't understand. Some presents what?
Yeah, because...
Yeah, but you see, my question is, what about some presents? You cannot answer with a yes. So you have to tell me some information.
Well, I think that, yeah, the number 11 refers that just some of the presents were open and she was delighted.
So, and in number 12?
The opposite. Well, I think that maybe it's all of them. She opened all of the presents and she get delighted.
It's here probably we are not talking about all and some. What we need to know is which presents made Cindy happy.
Oh, okay.
I think. So this is a different way to understand the problem. So what is the implication of number 11?
That she get happy. That
every day.
No, that just once she.
Pero entonces no digas gets. Cuando les pregunto esto, tengo dos preguntas favoritas. Una es de, ¿Are you asking me a question? Es para que corrijan la entonación. Y cuando pregunto every day, es porque están usando mal el presente.
Okay.
Y están implicando que hacen eso todos los días de manera obsesiva o no sé, suena raro, ¿no? O en este caso ella, como si todos los días recibiera regalos de cumpleaños. ¿No? Entonces, son preguntas, digamos, un poquito... No ven mi pantalla, ¿verdad?
No.
Algo está pasando aquí. Ay. ¿Qué está pasando aquí? Okay, can you see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Cindy was delighted when she opened the present, which was from her grandmother. And Cindy was delighted when she opened the present that was from her grandmother. Let's start maybe with number 12. Do you think that she opened several presents? Yes or no?
Well, it depends. Well, in my opinion, number 12, she opened.
Yeah, but who is my student now? Manuel, no?
Okay.
Okay, Manuel. So, los otros se relajan, porque siempre el que no tiene estrés se sabe las respuestas. La bronca es el que tiene que contestarme. Entonces, ustedes relájense los demás. So, Manuel, in number 12, do you think that the presents that she received from other people made Cindy happy?
Teacher, I can answer, but the person who was speaking is Gabriel.
Yes, okay, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay. Gabriel.
Well, on number 12,
did she open many presents?
Cindy,
yes or no? What do you feel?
no, I think that just some.
Well, but more than one or not?
Yeah, maybe more than one.
Maybe more than one. Okay. And all of them made Cindy happy? According to this information, we don't have more information.
Well, according to the information on number 12, I think that all of the presents made her happy.
And on what grounds do you say that? What is the evidence that you have to say that?
Can you repeat it again, please?
I am asking, why do you say that? Why do you think that Cindy was delighted when she opened all the presents and not just the present from the grandmother? What evidence do you have to support your assertion?
Well, because maybe comparing it with number 11, the comma, I think that it refers especially the presents that her mother gave her, and those are just from the grandmother.
Okay, hold on a second. There is only one present, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's analyze number 11 again. Number 11, forget about number 12 for the moment. What other punctuation did I say that we can use instead of the comma?
Can you repeat again? I think my internet is weird today.
Instead of comma, what punctuation can we use?
I don't remember it, sorry.
I just mentioned this in this example.
Okay.
What other punctuation can we use instead of a comma?
Defining clause.
No me estás entendiendo. Yo pregunté, what punctuation can we use instead of commas in the relative clauses?
Maybe that. No, yeah. Sorry. The parentheses.
Parentheses.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I got confused.
Yes, I can see. I can see. So we can use a parenthesis here, but parentheses need to be closed, so I am going to close it. Yeah. And if I have information in parentheses, I can ignore it momentarily.
Yeah.
So can you read the sentence outside the parentheses?
Cindy was delighted when she opened the present.
The present. Did she open many presents?
No.
Was she happy?
It seems that yes.
I think so. No se puede decir I think that yes. Eso no existe. ¿Eh? I think so. Mhm. Okay. She was delighted when she opened the present. What extra information do we have about this particular present?
That she opened it?
In parentheses, what information? This is the extra information.
That her mother gave her?
En mi libro es su abuelita, en el tuyo parece que...
Yeah, sorry.
Sí, ¿no? O sea, como que vamos a concentrarnos, vamos a tratar de concentrarnos, okay? So, it was her grandmother who gave her the only present that she opened.
Yeah.
She only opened one present, and apparently the only person who gave her the present was the grandmother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what can we conclude about number 12, Gabriel?
The opposite, that there was more than one present.
There was more than one present. This is one thing. And what is the other important thing that we can infer?
That all of the presents were from her grandmother.
¿Por qué ves muchos? Yo no veo más que un regalo. O sea, ¿dónde hay muchos? ¿Por qué dices que todos eran de la abuela?
I don't know. I think in my mind I read it like that.
A ver, tradúcela, por favor, porque no sé dónde estamos teniendo problemas. Tradúcela.
Cindy quedó fascinada.
Pues no es para tanto, pero bueno.
Quedó complacida cuando abrió el regalo que fue de su abuela.
Que era, ¿no? Que era,
sí.
Que era de la abuela o de su abuela. Ajá. Entonces, ¿qué pasó? ¿Abrió varios regalos? Aparentemente, sí.
Uh-huh.
Pero, ¿todos le gustaron?
No.
Y entonces, ¿qué es lo que sabemos?
That just some of the gifts were
¿Quién es? ¿Cuál es ese some? ¿De dónde viene ese some? Tú dices que a algunos le gustaron. En mi libro yo nomás veo que le gustó el de la abuela. ¿Tú de dónde sacas otros que le gustaron? No entiendo.
Okay. I'm getting so confused in this one, teacher.
Sí, por eso el ejercicio es muy interesante, porque saca a flote que no eres el único que tiene el problema, porque ya hemos visto que en las anteriores también había problemas. Por eso el ejercicio lo pongo, porque es sumamente interesante. No es nada más de que pongo comas a veces y a veces no. ¿Qué significa que a veces le pongo y a veces no?
Yeah.
It has some logical implications, not only grammatical implications. In number 12, Cindy probably received several presents, but the only present that made her happy was the present from the grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, fortunately. Mm-hmm. So it's important to make this distinction, and that is why the intonation is so important, and to understand that commas could be replaced in the case of relative clauses with parentheses, so that you can momentarily ignore the information. So
yeah, also I forgot about the parentheses.
Opened only one present, and this present made her happy.
Yeah, exactly.
In number 11. And in number 12, Cindy opened several presents, but only the present from the grandmother made her happy.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem I was having with this one is that I just focused on the fact that she opened the present, not that she got happy because of the present.
Well, we have to analyze the whole. What is the difference between the two things?
Yeah, thank you, teacher.
Mhm. Does everybody understand this example?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Oops. Well, 13. Abigail, are you there? They were going to have lots of technical problems because of the rainy weather. Mildred, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please, 13 and 14, analyze them.
Mhm. The teacher pointed to the maps that were hanging on the rear wall of the classroom. In number 14, the teacher pointed to the maps which were hanging on the rear wall of the classroom. I think that number 13 is talking about this talking about only some of the maps.
When you say only some of the maps, you need to complete because I don't know what you have in your mind. Only some of the maps what?
That were hanging.
No entiendo. O sea, si tú me dices, solo algunos de los mapas que estaban colgando, me falta el principio de tu oración. O sea, ¿qué con esos mapas? No sé qué estás diciendo.
Pointed?
Who?
The teacher.
Ay, Dios santísimo. Hoy no están muy concentrados. A ver. Ajá. But what is the implication of this sentence? That the teacher what?
Pointed to the maps.
Ajá. To all the maps?
No, some of the maps.
Okay. Only to some maps. And the other one?
That the teacher pointed to all the maps.
Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Gabriel?
Yes.
Well, I hope so. So, in the next ones, you need to decide if you need to add commas. So, I am not going to ask you to read the punctuation. Don't tell me comma something. I need you to pronounce with the correct intonation, and then we have to infer if you use commas or not. Is it clear?
Okay.
So the intonation should inform you. So, number 1, Odette.
We enjoy the city where we spent our vacation.
Do you think that Odette used commas or not?
No.
No.
Because of her intonation, we can say that's the way. Number 2, Hugo. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Your intonation should be enough. Uno no va a andar por la vida diciendo, ¿cómo te llamas? Signo de interrogación. Pues no. O sea, por eso yo les pregunto, ¿are you asking me? O sea, porque todo el tiempo la entonación que usan es de que están preguntándome. Entonces, tu entonación debe informarme qué onda traen. No necesita decirme, o sea, en japonés sí, creo que sí, así se habla. Ajá. Mi nombre es Marta Mora, punto. ¿Cómo te llamas? Signo de interrogación y así. Pero en estas lenguas de acá, de esta parte del planeta, no se requiere. La entonación nos informa. So, read again with the right intonation. Did Hugo use the comma or not in his intonation?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, how do you pronounce this word, Hugo? Esto no suena. Enjoyed. We enjoyed Mexico. O sea, tengo que leerla prácticamente como si aquí hubiera un punto. Y esto hasta baja un poquito el tono de voz. We enjoyed Mexico City, where we spent our vacation. O sea, baja hasta un poco el tono para que yo informe a mi interlocutor que pues le estoy dando como un chismito acá entre nos. Number 3, Mariel.
An elephant, which is the Earth's largest land mammal, has few natural enemies other than human beings.
Okay, read again, one more time.
Yes, sorry. An elephant, which is the Earth's largest land mammal, has few natural enemies other than human beings.
Much better. Did she use commas or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She does.
Where?
Between elephant and which, and between mammal and has.
Are you asking me?
No, between mammal and has.
Thank you. Number 4, Laura.
Okay. One elephant we saw at the zoo.
Pero esta no la leíste.
Okay. Again. One of the elephants which we saw at the zoo had only one tusk.
Zoo. Okay. Did Laura use commas?
No.
No. It's fine. And we know that when we don't use commas, in this case, we can use that also. Remember. Number 5, fair.
At the botanical gardens, you can see a Venus flytrap, which is an insectivorous plant.
Okay, hold on a second. You have to pronounce this. Venuses. Okay, read again.
At the botanical gardens, you can see a Venus's flytrap, which is an insectivorous plant.
Oops, it's very borderline. Can you say if she used a comma or not, according to the intonation?
No.
According to the intonation,
according to the intonation is not very clear, right? So you have to exaggerate a little bit, please.
Okay. At the botanical gardens, you can see a Venus's flytrap, which is an insectivorous plant.
So, according to her intonation, she what?
She doesn't use comma.
She doesn't use comma. Is that okay?
No.
No. We need a comma.
Yes.
Because this is extra information about the Venus's flytrap. ¿No? Es un chismito adicional que me están dando sobre esta planta.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Is it clear, sir, or not?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so read again with the right intonation.
At the botanical gardens, you can see a Venus's flytrap, which is an insectivorous plant.
Much better and much more logical. Number 6, Larissa.
In Venezuela, there are plants that eat insects with their roots.
Oh my God, we have technical problems.
In Venezuela.
Oops. Can everybody hear Larissa? Because I'm having problems myself.
Yes, we did.
You did? Because my connection became unstable.
Yes.
This sentence.
We noticed.
Is she speaking?
No, but I'm going to repeat the sentence. In Venezuela, there are plants that eat insects with their roots.
I have lots of technical problems. I can. Okay, thank you very much. The internet.
We can hear you, teacher.
We can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
We can. Let's break down.
We have technical problems. Okay, hold on a second. So you cannot hear me?
Yes.
No, yes.
Yes.
Now we can.
Okay.
Well, but this is going to be more. Larissa used not in her, according to the intonation.
No, she doesn't.
Okay. Number 7, Montse.
Yes. One of the most useful materials in the world is glass, which is made chiefly from sand, soda, and lime.
Okay, hold on a second. Can you repeat? Because I didn't quite catch what you said.
Yes. One of the most useful materials in the world is glass, which is made chiefly from sand, soda, and lime.
Apparently. Good. She said?
Sorry, teacher?
Sorry?
I think she, for her intonation, he used a comma. I don't know.
Not very well, teacher. We can hear you very well.
Can you hear us, teacher?
It's breaking there.
Yeah, the sound is not very fluent.
But now is I hear you clearly.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Now.
Okay.
But you answered. Well, so let me see. This is easier. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. I'm going to stop here. Oops. Do you still see the screen?
No.
No.
Yeah, something is very unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Well, so you have your files.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, so who was reading? Montse?
Yes, teacher.
Can you read again, please?
Yes. One of the most useful materials in the world is glass, which is made chiefly from sand, soda, and lime.
did she use commas or not in her, according to her intonation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Before? Before which?
Before which?
In general, the commas are before or at the beginning of the relative clause and at the end. Okay? Well, and finally, number 8, Victoria.
Yes, teacher. Last year's.
Oh, sorry. The pronunciation is glaciers.
Okay.
Glaciers.
Glaciers, which are masses of ice that flow slowly over land, form in the cold polar regions and in high mountains.
What do the others think? Did she use commas or not?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you agree with these commas?
Yes.
Yes.
Certain. Good. Okay. Well, so let's see what this material allow me to do. So go to the Google Classroom. Let me see if I can share the screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in your Google Classroom, you should have on the relative clauses, you should have this file that is called Stanley G3 relative clauses. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and tell me when you have the file.
Stanley.
Okay, teacher, I have it.
Okay. Well, let's see if things become a little bit more stable. And if I can share the screen again, or if not, I use that. Okay, so let's try. Well, can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. In this file, in this first exercise, we just have to make a simple decision. I don't know if you remember when I explained relative clauses yesterday, the example about, what was it? I think it was, no, it was the one about Juarez. Juarez was a Mexican statesman whom Mussolini's father admired. And in that example, I don't know if you remember that I told you that 2 other options were possible.
Without whom and that.
With that and with 0. That is no connector at all.
Okay.
So what is the rule in this case? And I think that we saw another example in the file that we just left. This one. When we were starting this file.
About the rice?
Something about rice. Yes, this one, number 5.
Number 5.
That I said that we could use which, that, or 0. So this exercise is precisely about that. deciding when we can use zero. So let's analyze the situation. So John F. In this case, the relative clause is already correct, no problem. John F. Kennedy was the American president who launched the space program. And the relative clause is who launched the space program. That is the relative clause. What is the conjugated verb in the relative clause?
He launched.
Launched. And what is the subject for that verb?
The space program.
The space program.
Uh-oh.
No, John F. Kennedy.
No, the John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. No, the American president who launched.
The relative clause is a sentence that is, in this case, is functioning as an adjective, but it has the rules of the sentences. So if I have a verb here, what is the subject? This is the subject for this verb. And it refers to the American president, yes. So the reference is the American president, but this is the who is the subject of the relative clause. So since a clause is like a sentence, it needs a subject. So the subject is essential. I cannot eliminate it. No? For this reason, it's essential. Let's analyze the other example. This is a trophy that I won yesterday. Okay. The complete thing is the relative clause. What is the conjugated verb of the relative clause?
One.
One. What is the subject for that verb?
I.
So, this is one example where this is optional. I can omit it, and I can say, this is the trophy I won yesterday. So when the relative pronoun, when the relative pronoun is not the subject of the relative clause, it can be omitted. That is, replaced with zero. Let's see if we are understanding. Number one, that's the man who sold me the lamp. What is the relative clause?
Who sold me the
Sold me the lamp.
Let me erase this because we're going to have problems. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Okay. Who sold me the lamp? What is the conjugated verb of the relative clause?
Sold.
What is the subject for that verb?
Who.
So can I omit who?
No.
No, it's essential. That's the woman whom we met at the party. What is the relative clause?
We met at the party.
We met at the party.
We met at the party.
We met at the party. What is the conjugated verb for the relative clause?
Met.
Met. Meet is this. This is the present. Meet. And the past is met. Met. What is the subject for met?
We.
So, is the relative pronoun the subject?
No.
So,
Optional.
It's optional.
What can we do?
Drop it. Who?
We can drop it. It's like the example about Mussolini. It's who or whom or that or zero. And we could say this is optional. And the sentence, the woman we met at the party. And that's simple. Is it clear now? Well, So I am going to give you some minutes for you to work with your partner, trying to decide if the relative pronoun is essential or optional. Well, so let me stop and let me give you, let's say, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Again, I think there was a student who was ejected, but I'm not very sure. So let me see. Okay, go ahead, 6 minutes.
So, in the number 3, I think that can be optional.
Yes,
Number 4, essential.
essential,
Number 5,
optional,
optional. 6,
optional,
optional. 7, essential. Letter 8, I think that is essential. Number 9, essential, and the number 10, optional. What do you think?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I think, I don't know if you have problems with your connection, or I don't know if you can hear me.
Well, I can hear you now.
Yeah, because I was telling you some things, but you didn't hear me, I think.
Don't worry.
I was in number 6, and then I didn't hear you, so I don't know if you want to to compare again our answers. Yeah. So number 6, it was uh, optional, right?
Yes.
And number 7 was essential. Number 8, essential. 9, essential. And 10, optional. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we finish.
Do you have the information that the teacher give us now about this? O sea, ¿tienes lo que, o le sacaste como captura lo que dijo ahorita la maestra, que tenía aquí como al ladito de, como la explicación?
I see, puse, when the relative pronoun is not the subject of the relative clause, it can be omitted. Es lo que anoté, lo que puso al ladito, ¿no? Cuando el relative pronoun no es el sujeto del relative clause, puede ser omitido con zero o opcional. Sí, nada más era eso. Bueno, es lo único que anoté.
Pero, por ejemplo, cuando es omitido, no se le agrega ninguna coma ni nada, ¿verdad? Solamente, pues, se omite y ya. Bueno.
Ay, perdón, es que fui por agua, ¿me hablaste?
Sí.
¿Qué pasó?
No te preocupes. Que cuando omitimos esta parte, ¿le agregamos alguna coma o algo o solamente la omitimos?
No, según yo solamente se omite. Ajá, sí, sin coma y eso.
Gracias.
Sí, de nada.
Okay. Let's try to check. Okay. Victoria, number 3, please. Read and give us the analysis and your final decision.
Yes. Use the one which he gave us. Here we can, well, it's optional.
But can you give me the complete analysis? The relative clause is such, blah, blah, blah. Oh. What is the relative?
Okay. It's which he gave us. And the verb is gave and the subject is he.
So this is optional.
Optional.
Okay. Number 4. Carla.
Okay. Don't take the one which is broken and the relative clause.
Don't ask me. Intonation again, please.
Okay. Don't take the one which is broken and the relative
No preguntes, estás preguntando. Don't take the one which is broken, no, which is broken. Para abajo, por favor.
Don't take the one which is broken.
Ajá.
And the relative clause is which is broken.
Clause. De la misma forma que pronuncias así.
Because, okay, clause. The relative clause is which is broken. And is essential.
Is essential. ¿Y no le falta aquí algo?
It is essential.
It is essential. What is essential?
The relative clause.
Well, here we are not talking about the relative clause. We are talking about the pronoun.
Okay. The relative pronoun is essential.
That's better. Number 5. Ignacio?
This is the boy whom I was telling you about.
What is the relative clause?
Whom?
The relative clause?
Pronoun.
Yes, but I said, what is the relative clause?
Whom?
This is the pronoun, but I want the relative clause. Can you tell me the relative clause?
Whom I was telling you about.
Whom I was telling you about. Then give me the analysis and your conclusion.
It is optional.
What is this it in your sentence?
I
is optional, o sea, le pongo así.
No, who.
Entonces, ¿qué parte de la oración es este whom?
The pronoun.
The relative pronoun.
Relative pronoun.
The relative pronoun. Entonces, dame la oración completa porque the conclusion is what?
It is
what is the name of this word?
Relative pronoun.
The relative pronoun is what?
The relative pronoun is optional.
Optional, okay.
Because we have verb, the subject, next to the relative pronoun.
What matters is not that you have a subject next to the relative pronoun, is that this is the subject for the verb. This is what matters.
Okay.
Number 6. Pauline.
Yeah. Number 6. Wasn't that the play which you were going to see? The relative clause is which you were going to see. And which is, it is optional.
Which is optional. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Number 7. Nami.
Okay, the relative pronoun is essential.
Can you analyze everything if you don't mind?
Okay. The relative clause is that launch 1,000 ships.
Are you asking me?
That launch 1,000 ships. And launch is the verb. And that is the subject.
And for this reason,
the relative pronoun is essential.
The relative pronoun is essential. Does everybody understand this sentence?
No.
Not really.
No.
Really? Well, have you ever heard about Troy and the Trojan horse?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in mythology, in Greek mythology, there was a party in the Olympus, but there was a particular goddess who was not invited because she was not very friendly. It was discord. But she was upset because Zeus, the most important of gods, didn't invite her. So what she had the idea of throwing an apple at the table where everybody was having dinner. And the apple was a golden apple and had a legend on it saying, "For the most beautiful goddess of the Olympus." So immediately 3 goddesses start quarreling and say, "No, it's for me because I am the most beautiful. No, it's for me." Etc. No? Venus, Athena, and Hera. So since there was no consensus, they decided to come down to earth and to ask a mortal. This mortal's name was called Paris. And Paris had to decide who the apple should go to. But each of the goddesses started offering something to Paris. Oh, I'm going to make you the most intelligent man, or I'm going to make you the most powerful man. But Venus, let's say, convinced Paris by offering him the most beautiful Spartan girl, whose name was Helen. And, well, he accepted Venus's offer. And the problem is that Helen belonged in a different, let's say, city-state. And she had to escape with Paris. And this started a war. So she was a beautiful face. This face refers to Helen's face. And the 1,000 ships refer to the naval war. It was a naval war because you know that Greece is made of many islands, things like that. So because of her beautiful face, many ships sailed to the sea to start a war. This is the meaning of this sentence, okay?
Okay.
A little bit complicated.
Yeah.
Well, number 8, Axel.
Okay. This car is the one which broke the world speed record. The relative clause is which broke the world speed record. The verb is broke, which is the pronoun, so which is essential.
Why is it essential?
Because the subject of the relative clause is which.
Exactly. Thank you. Number 9, Zaire.
Yes, a woman who lives in the same block told me it was true. Okay, the relative clause is who lives in the same block. And the relative pronoun is who. Lives is the verb. So lives don't have subject. Well, you have subject, but it is the relative pronoun, so it is
the relative
essential.
pronoun is the subject, so it's essential. When the relative pronoun is the subject, it is essential. That's the basic idea. And finally, number 10. Lucero.
Build the book which we're reserving for Scott. The relative clause is which we're reserving for
Pero
Scott.
yo veo que no pronuncias esta. ¿Por qué?
Oh, sorry.
Algo pasa. A ver otra vez. Sí, la primera vez, pero como que veo que se repite, entonces vamos a tener problemas. One more time, please.
Build the book which we were reserving for Scott.
Scott.
The relative clause is which we were reserving for Scott. The verb is were reserving, and the subject is we, so the relative pronoun is optional.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
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 ¿Cómo logro no pronunciar for Scott?
Join.
Join the
First.
Junten la S a la letra previa, for Scott. Y se van a quitar ese tipo de problemas. Well, so you have understood this idea of optional and essential. So before homework, what you have to do is exercise 3. The instructions say combine the two pairs of sentences, but making a relative clause of the second sentence in each case. This is not free like the examples we wrote yesterday when I was explaining the rules on the board, where we had different alternatives with commas, without commas, changing the order. In this case, we always have to make the second sentence the relative clause. Then omit the relative where possible. So you have to decide if your relative pronoun is essential, because it is optional, because it is not the subject, as we hit so in the previous exercise. And circle the word that you are leaving out in the second sentence. So we have examples, 2 ideas. Several athletes were disqualified. They had taken drugs. So the first thing is that I need to use this sentence to transform it into the relative clause. So we see this becomes here. Several athletes who had taken drugs were disqualified. And now this who is replacing this word. So you are going to circle the word that you are omitting and replace. 2. The man was very ill. Sentence 1. I found him on the street. Sentence 2. So I need to transform the second sentence into a relative. But you immediately see that what is the subject of this sentence?
I.
So this is not going to be the subject. So automatically I know this is optional or essential.
Optional.
Optional. Entonces, lo que van a ver es tan fácil que se van a emocionar, supongo yo. Simple y sencillamente lo omito, lo vuelvo 0. Y aquí aparece así. I found on the street. The man I found on the street was very ill. Ya no tengo que ponerle aquí whom y acordarme que whom es lo mismo que 0 o que that. Si está como en una posición que no es de sujeto, pues ya sé que es 0 y no lo pongo. ¿Ok? Nada más lo circulo porque me dicen esto, ¿no? Circle the word which you leave out. Is it clear?
Yes.
Well, I hope so. So for homework, you have... Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's it then. See you Thursday.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Teacher, not teacher. Bye.
Bye. Take care.